But we begin this morning with new federal charges against former President Donald Trump. He's accused of conspiring to delete security camera footage after receiving a subpoena for that footage in the classified documents investigation. CBS News has also obtained audio of Trump contradicting some of his public claims about those documents. Our chief election and campaign correspondent, Robert Costa, is following this in Washington. Robert, good morning.
Good morning. This is an historic moment. Former President Trump now faces a total of 40 charges in this investigation, one of two legal challenges he has with the special counsel, all while trying to hold on to his frontrunner position in the Republican presidential race. And sources close to Trump tell CBS News that Trump's inner circle, they're confident, but also on edge.
This is harassment. This is election interference.
Former President Trump responded for the first time Thursday night to 3 new charges, adding to his unprecedented legal peril. A 60-page superseding indictment from a federal grand jury in Florida accuses Trump of conspiring to pressure a Mar-a-Lago employee to delete security camera footage.
I'm protected by the Presidential Records Act totally. It shouldn't even be a case.
There is also a new alleged violation of the Espionage Act, charging Trump showed an Iran war plan to several people without security clearances back in July of 2021 in Bedminster, New Jersey. According to the indictment, a recording obtained by CBS News captured a conversation Trump had with 2 staffers, a book writer and a publisher.
Let's see here.
Yeah.
I just found, isn't that amazing? This totally wins my case, you know. Except it is like highly confidential secret.
The audio recording appears to contradict Trump's claims last month.
I didn't have a document per se. There was nothing to declassify. These were newspaper stories, magazine stories, and articles.
Trump has repeatedly insisted he declassified all the documents he took with him. But in the recording,
As president, I could have declassified.
Yeah.
No, I can't, you know, but this is classified.
This case just got a lot stronger.
Special Counsel Jack Smith is also charging Mar-a-Lago property manager Carlos de Oliveira. According to the indictment, de Oliveira spoke with the former president the day after investigators subpoenaed security camera video and told a Mar-a-Lago employee, quote, the boss wanted security video deleted. This comes after Trump valet and aide Walt Nauta pled not guilty to obstruction and a host of other charges for allegedly moving boxes at Mar-a-Lago, illegally withholding documents, and making false statements.
Evidence of obstruction of justice is like putting a piece of dynamite in front of the jury. It is devastating evidence. I think there's another problem if you're in President Trump's shoes. You've got to be concerned now with this third defendant.
A lawyer for de Oliveira declined to comment. Meanwhile, Trump's legal trouble might not end here. A grand jury has been convening at the courthouse behind me for weeks, considering whether to bring charges against Trump for his role in an alleged plot to overturn the 2020 election. Anne Marie?
All right, Robert, thank you. So for more analysis on this case, I want to bring in CBS News legal contributor Jessica Levinson. Okay, Jessica, so this charge to me seems almost a little bit different than some of the other charges within this investigation, because the accusation is this was stuff that was subpoenaed, even though the classified documents were subpoenaed as well, but these videotapes were subpoenaed, and the accusation is that Donald Trump took measures to deliberately hide or eliminate this evidence. What's your take on how serious these charges are?
Very serious. And I think you're right that it feels different because it seems to go back to that old adage, it's not the crime, it's the cover-up. And the superseding document largely is about the alleged cover-up here. So we knew from the original indictment that there were allegations that the former president had basically said to employees, let's move these documents, or at one point allegedly said to one of his attorneys, what if we just told the FBI that we don't have these documents? Or what if we took out the most damaging ones? So we had that as a baseline. But now what we have is allegedly an attempt to try and delete evidence of them concealing that information. It's a cover-up on top of a cover-up. And Anne-Marie, I think that's why for both of us, it just feels different. It is, as we just heard previously, I think it is explosive for the jury to hear this because jurors on an intuitive level understand if you did nothing wrong, why are you trying to hide video surveillance footage?
Now, as you know, when it comes to sort of the various cases involving Donald Trump, now, but even before in business practices, some people have kind of said that he kind of acts like a mob boss and that there's, certain sort of degrees of separation between the alleged activity and him. And so in this indictment, it describes a Mar-a-Lago property manager instructing an IT employee to delete security video after it was subpoenaed. And the manager allegedly said that the, quote, the boss wanted the video deleted. But he doesn't mention Trump by name. So I wonder if, that could be a challenge for prosecutors.
So it could be they will have to establish that the boss is Donald Trump, but based on the fact that they brought this superseding indictment and added charges against Trump, they believe they can. They believe that if they put either of these two employees on the stand, Walt Nauta or Carlos de Oliveira, if they put them on the stand, then they can say, when you said the boss, you were referring to Donald J. Trump, correct? So is that one extra step? Yes. But Anne-Marie, I think you zeroed in on something else really important, which is in other cases, the former president, I would argue, maybe wasn't charged because he does kind of speak in code. And he doesn't say, I want you to destroy evidence. He'll say something like, gosh, it would be easier if. And this superseding indictment, I think, goes a long way to overcoming that threshold. You have other people here explicitly telling colleagues, fellow employees, we understood what the former president said. Of course, they said the boss, but it is to delete information that is under subpoena.
So we already know, I think right now we're looking at next spring as a possibility for when this will go to trial. Is this additional charge then going to push that timeline?
Absolutely. That was aspirational at best. I think before the superseding indictment, I think it will be very difficult to keep that May trial date because we now added a defendant. We've now added charges. All of that means that we've added complications. We have a new judge here who, nobody has experience in this case, but we have a new judge from Florida, and that is a docket that doesn't have a lot of experience when it comes to national security information, highly classified information, which is going to be complicating here because you need to go through the information and just determine what can the jury be told, what can the jury see. All of this is going to mean there's more motion practice, meaning more paper that is filed with the court. And so I do not see this May trial date holding.
So I know this is a very unusual case, but is it unusual to add charges and even a new defendant at this stage in the game?
No. So we know the term superseding indictment for a reason. It's not a rare term. It means that the investigation has continued. And typically it means either a defendant is added, which is what we have here, or new charges are added, which is what we have here also. So this should not feel to people like something strange happened or the theory of the case changed. It means that the investigation continued after the original indictment. And that's something that we see in state courthouses and in federal courthouses. And there's nothing bizarre about that.
All right. Jessica Levinson, thank you very much.
Thank you.